Can't hear you, Cesar. Cesar, Bob, can you help us?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't I'm sorry. I'm just so I forgot the. How are you, Adrienne? How's it
How are
going?
you? Oh my God, you look like you're wearing a really cool hat.
Oh, I didn't.
Like a
I guess I forgot my. Yeah. Let me get all gussied up here. How you doing? How's it going?
not good, not good.
Well, I'm
Not,
always. Oh, did you say not good?
yeah, not good, not good.
Oh.
I cut my hair with dog scissors.
Oh
And I shouldn't
no.
be touching them. I should be arrested. It's all weird, and I can't. I don't know. I look really weird, and if I showed you the back of me, you'd feel bad for me.
Yeah, but wait. You didn't get the. You didn't get. Well, wardrobe and makeup handles all that for you. I mean, I got you. You don't have a makeup department and all that.
They're busy with Kelly Ripa and
Oh,
the other guy, all the Savannah and Guthrie and
that's great.
Coda.
Let me talk to my producer. Hey, Bob. Let me talk to my producer. Bob, can we lend her? What? Oh, he said with the corona we can't really send out people. We're kind of quarantined here. I'm so sorry. Well, I'm sorry you're having a bad hair day. But other than that, how are you doing? Oh,
Mm,
was that a donut?
mm. I'm getting rounder, which is
Well,
my favorite shape.
nothing beats a bad hair day than a good donut. Yeah, kind of levels it out. So how are you doing? What can I do for you? It's good to be here
I'm
live
glad I
from
tracked you
Miami.
down. My God, Caesar, you've been around the world. I'm tracking you down. What have you been
Well,
doing? Tell me about you.
I'm I got this new show and I'm just kind of I'm kind of tickled pink. We're still dealing with a lot of little details that I don't know if you want to hear about them, but they're just kind of little
I do.
trivial stuff. Well,
I
for one thing, it's a little tricky to travel now. But they are working. They said they're working on my plane. See on my, but I'm not very happy. The logo. I want the Caesar part a lot bigger, and also I want it on the tail. Anyway, Bob said he's working on that. It's part of my contract. But anyway, so I'm a little bummed I can't really do like live on the spot interviews from like Yugoslavia and London and all that. So for now, I'm just hunkering down here, kind of a rudimentary set. Although they're working on that, there's a different budget. This is what we're looking at. We have a little model here. I want to kind of have like a FDR fireside chat type look, but more modern. Instead of the red bricks,
love that art.
the white
Is that
brick. Well, it's
and what's
not
that?
art. It's actually a window, but we don't have enough budget for the window, so they've actually crossed that out. But I'm not going to take no for the bamboo light pink floor. I think it's gotta be there. But we're having a great time. We're interviewing people. We're keeping it live. At least I got my my extra starch for my nice jackets here. So yeah, it's all good. It's all good. How are you doing? How's your show going?
Everyone that I've been interviewing has been fantastic.
Oh,
It's
wonderful.
Candid. So I'm
Wonderful.
showing off your friends, which was what you're doing. You're showing off your friends. And
Absolutely. Absolutely.
your show just cracked me up when you when you showed the picture of the guy with a jacket and you said it was like too small because it didn't cover him. That was funny.
Well, we did some research, and actually, I'll show your viewers what we're talking about. But we had an R&D department do a little bit of some kind of what do you call it? Role reverse engineering, and we put this on. We scanned it, and we did kind of like a run through it, and the forensics came back. That jacket cannot possibly come together. We also noticed that they're kind of trying to be a little bit prejudicial, as if the only people that can wear this are people that have skinny jeans or skinny pants. So that's not
Yes.
fair. But anyway, it's a product called Plain Air, and it's supposed to, scientifically proven to eliminate 99.9% of harmful bacteria. What about that 0.01? That's the stuff that'll get you. But anyway, I don't want to get all negative here, but Yeah, we we like to inform and educate our public as you do. I know you've been talking. How many people you've been talking to so far?
I have talked to 16 people so far. You make 17. And coming up
Wow.
this week, I've got some amazing conversations.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so all good. Hey,
Super.
wait, show me your bottle of sanitizer.
Oh, it's in the green room right now. It's not right
Oh,
now. I have a whole thing, they got to calm me down with some sedatives. I get a little nervous in the morning, but I do sanitize every day, and even my entire even my getup needs to be sanitized, every part of it. So it's a process to get going in the morning. But I come from the Howard Cosell School of Broadcasting, and we have an adage. You know how they say, people, guys with big feet, big feet, big shoes. The mic, it's all about the mic baffle here. The bigger the mic
wow.
baffle,
I'm jealous.
the more potent the broadcasting. So yeah, but yeah, you remember Howard Course. This is Howard
Oh,
Course, ladies and gentlemen, coming
I,
to you live from the arena. He never said what arena. It's just the arena. We were supposed to know anyway, but yeah, it's good. It's good. Now, how do you get your guests kind of comfortable and lucid and ready to go? Or are they just naturals?
wow, that's a killer, crazy, really cool, smart question. Probably the host is just really good at making sure that people feel comfortable
There you
because
go.
I just do it right. I don't
There-
know. I have a face for radio, and right now I'm like, I honestly though, I am looking scary, and I think people are going to enjoy watching the show because a month from now my face will be like this, and then I'll take up more of the screen. Right now we're cut in the middle. Pretty soon I'll be like 3/4, and everyone else will be a quarter. It won't be my fault.
Well, I'm a believer of kind of like getting really up close to the camera.
I got new
Yeah,
glasses though. Look at these.
yeah. Oh yeah, you got the good glasses going on.
I bought them
And
online.
also, I also feel like on my hard hitter interviews, as you know, my show's pretty serious. Anytime there's kind of a trivial thing and you want to make a big point, let's say we're talking about the moon, and someone calls in and says, the moon is 256,000 miles away from the Earth. If they're wrong, it's always good to say, actually, it's 253,000 miles. That
Ooh.
extra,
Ooh.
yeah, that's a good to add some extra.
Right that.
Yeah, push it up. That's right.
Actually.
Actually, yeah,
Wait, what if it
ac-
goes my nose?
that's
Oh,
right.
it clipped in my nose.
Actually, so that's a good device, and but as you know, only for just to really emphasize certain things. Other than that, we have a great team here that's fanned out around the country, and they send me copious amounts of notes if I get anything wrong. Of course, the computer I'm on is on the fritz, so I don't know if I'm on all my facts today were correct. But anyway, we have to roll with it with what we got here. But right now I'm in a regular kind of like a raw studios. But again, soon enough, I'm really excited.
Oh,
The show will be as gore. I think I'm really looking forward to the new set. So
it's
any
gorgeous.
moment now. So paint me a picture. How did you begin your show, or how did you think I'm going to do this now with the corona going on? Everybody's at home. Might as well do something.
Okay, so I think to myself, I have this great friend named Cesar. My dad met Caesar's friend Heather. So Caesar's a friend of a friend of a friend of a father's friend, sister's mother. And I was like, okay, now how do I tell people about Caesar? I could say Caesar wrote Robert is Here, a really cool book
Thank
about
you.
about great. And then I could tell people that Caesar drove the United States in a really fun car and
All
had it
50
all
states.
together. All 50 states before the internet really took place. And doesn't have a lot to prove it, but I know he did because I see pictures. I could also say to people that I know, I say, oh my God, my friend Caesar, he lived on the Appalachian Trail for 1 year and 26 days.
23 days. Yeah, 1 year and 23 days. That's right.
Darn
No,
it.
it's good. It's
And
good.
then sometimes I say, "Hey, have you ever been down to the Everglades?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, I have." And I'm like, "Oh, because the Everglades. By the way, there's a man named Cesar Becerra, and Cesar loves the Everglades. That he does. He educates the Everglades.
That
And
is
then there's
true.
one more thing. There's times where I say, "Oh my God, I have a friend Cesar, and he plays Mr. Flagler to like a T." So much that Mr. Flagler came back and hit Caesar during one of his presentations and said, "Stop being me." Right?
Well, his lawyers got in the way. Flagler never really did anything. He always had people to do things for him. But anyhow, you're right. Wow, I'm flattered. Yeah, all those good things.
And
All
then I
those
want
good
them to
things.
know you. And then I'm like, how do I get them? They're like, I want to meet Caesar. I want to meet Caesar. Let me meet Caesar. Oh, how can I meet Caesar? And I'm thinking, well, I could do a candid conversation, hashtag show off your friends. And then I could have Caesar on it. And then everyone could see who my friends are. And like minded, cool people hang with like minded, cool people, just
That's
FYI.
right.
My
Well,
friends will like my friends, and your friends will like your friends. What are
I'm
you
rolling.
showing me?
I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm ready for some candid conversation. What
I
What would you
love
like to know? What's our first hard hitting question there, or candid question? If you have any
so.
curiosities,
First, I have to say thank you for actually serious on a serious tone right now.
or
Thank you for videotaping my mom and dad. I never
oh,
actually wanted to, like my parents would be like my mom, my mom should be like, Adrienne, I'm not gonna live forever. And I'd be like, Mom, stop talking about it. So I never actually would give my parents a chance to talk about their like age and their death because it always made me look. I'm right now. I just the thought of it was always so bad. So knowing though a couple of years ago that there was an opportunity to have you come in and document is pretty amazing to have that. And there's some amazing video and there's a lot that my parents and they need to live on. It's so important for me. And that is really is important to talk about the museum and to talk about all the good things that they've done and to make sure that we sit, no matter what, even though at one point I will be 25% of Barker Animation and Barker Museum, it will always be what I've always said when people come into the gallery. This is my parents' gallery. This is my parents'
yeah.
museum. I didn't, I'm actually taking a class though, by the way. I'm taking a tangible things class from Harvard, from Harvard University. I'm
Oh,
taking a class on tangible things so that I will be able to better understand the museum. And one of the things that I was yesterday was a chair. And there's a YouTube video. I'll play it. It's really cool. I'll put on my post. It's like a chair is not just a chair. A chair could be a statue. A chair could be a document. A chair can be sustainable, so they were like how you look at something. So I want to make my parents' museum the best that it can be.
yeah.
And it's not a toy museum. I don't like that word toy. I think it's really a pieces of history. And Cesar, you went up there. Can you tell and share about the museum for a minute, if you don't mind, and how amazing it is?
Well, first of all, before I get to that, Herb and Gloria Barker were just two amazing, amazing people who not only started a business, and when I mean start a business, you have to understand this is going way back. This is going so far back that when there was an order to fulfill of any kind, because they were into a lot of business, but they would go so far back that your father had to sometimes pull off the side of the road after getting an order from, let's say, a diner for salt shakers, and he had to call your mother up, and your mother then would jot down all the details, go run to the library, and grab a Thomas guide, which was a manufacturing guide at the time, and look up, call if there was a number, and pay exorbitant rates for long distance, or write them a letter, and then wait, and then wait, and then wait sometimes 2-3 days to get a letter back. And then, or if they again get, within an hour or next day, she'd call back Herb, or Herb would call back the next morning. She'd give him the quote. Herb would go drive back to the diner and say, okay, listen, we can do this for this, that money. Now, if they said, yes, this is perfect, Herb then would go get to the next phone, call her. She would say, go put in the order. Then they'd wait. and they'd wait, and there was no Amazon Prime shipping for the next day, and sometimes they had to wait till they got the order shipped to the home office in Connecticut, which was back then a little tiny room in an apartment initially, and then go drive it back out there, and then the process of collecting the money, which sometimes was in pieces, and so you'd have to wait and wait. And so, whatever business they were, and they were in a lot of different businesses, from promotional products to animation art later to a lot of other things, frankly, a limousine business in the middle of the whole journey. So they did it the long and hard way, a lot of hard work. But also they did it in the kind of the true sense of your father's like and your mother's like two of the most savvy marketeers,
Yes.
musketeer marketeers, and they could just sell up anything. They could just really, and your father in particular was just great at what we call schmoozing. He was a very good schmoozer. And anywhere he went, he would drop both business cards and pens and what have you, whether it be a restaurant or, and it's a testament to that fact. Many moons ago, when I started this project with you a long time ago, when you asked me to start this project on your parents' lives, um, I know that your husband found a golf ball in the back of a ditch in a golf course area, and it ended up having a Broward Sheriff's Office logo. And that was a ball that your father actually had that contract to make the. So, it's global in reach. These primarily the promotional products. It doesn't matter the ubiquitous pen or pencil or golf ball. It has a way, and studies have shown that it's the best money you can spend over advertising and other things. It has a long, long life, and it has a lot of eyeballs. But anyway, we're going on a tangent. But yeah, and your father would have been great at hosting a show like this, believe it or not.
Oh, I tried to get him. I remember my dad, though. My dad was, he was in and out of the hospital often for his ileostomy, but I remember that he would have, it was so important to him. He would be in the dire pain, horrifying pain, and he'd be like, Gloria, get the pens for me. I need to have pens. And the pens would say, doctors are special people. Nurses are special people. And he would always have them so they could come in and they would do that. And then when I was younger, I would fly with my parents and they would have flight attendants are special people. Pilots are special people. Dentists are, my dad wanted to make sure people felt great. When he realized that lip balm is something that the nurses and doctors would love to have, he would have the lip balm. He was, honestly, nobody's replaced my father. He is, and was, and will always be the original marketer. So when he sat down with a salt shaker, he probably sat down with them and came up with some kind of, you're the salt of the earth, and would have come up with some kind of cliche and a little funny saying and put it on.
Absolutely.
He really a brilliant man, lovable and likable, stubborn as he got older. Dad was so stubborn. It was really pretty impressive because I was like, wow, I'm like a flip flop. I'm a politician. I flip flop. If you could show me something that I'm wrong, I'm okay with that. Like, I'll be wrong. My dad didn't matter, right? He's so stubborn, and he loved
Absolutely.
his wife more than anything in the world. And I say that often because, we see a lot of stories right now with the pandemic, and you hear these stories of one spouse losing another one, and how they can honor that spouse is to say how that spouse has treated them. And to come in life and have your spouse treat you beautifully. Alan, he thinks that I'm like size 1 because he's Shallow Hal. I married Shallow Hal. He's going to wake up one day and be like, what the hell? But like my dad, and my dad would say, my mom could not have anything to do with it. My mom, maybe she didn't even buy the sandwich. And my dad would be like, I want to thank Gloria for this delicious sandwich that she took the time to buy. And my mom would be like, I didn't even think of the sandwich. So my dad just is a wonderful man. And he knew enough that his wife should be by his side for almost 70 years. And I was always jealous of the fried chicken, by the way.
Yeah.
What was that called? Oh my God, it just escaped me.
That was the golden
Skillet, right?
Skillet. That's right.
I wanted
Well,
to work there so
one
bad.
of the things that's important to know is that I think your father and your mother, but mainly your father, but your mother as well, I think they were walking around. You know how we take for granted that we have something today called Wi-Fi that can just kind of go anywhere, right? I think they had their own personal router
Oh my God.
of a scanning device, and they were always open. My theory about your parents is that they were kind of addicted to business in general. You know, they had one or two that they really, but they were always open to any business and when or an opportunity, and so they're always very big on opportunities. And sometimes they didn't even know they were getting into a business. For example, I think organically, while your father traveled so much, and then on the weekend he told me that even though he had a late night on Friday, early in the morning, your mother would get up at on Saturday as early as 4 or 5, pack the cooler, get everything ready. So at the time he woke up at 8, they were ready to hit the road, and then they go hit the road. And for their off time, because they were young and hungry and just starting out, they would go tag sailing and yard sailing and down the highways and byways of Connecticut and other places, and they would purchase things that didn't cost very much, but they also, unbeknownst to them till years later, trip upon another business they would get into, which is basically the celebration of anything that came from a character or a story
Yes.
through a character. We call it sometimes animation, but more the character building a story. And when the dust settled, your father and mother kind of vacuum cleaned all the good stuff when it was at good prices, way before the eBay. And although they did buy a fair share of stuff on eBay, I know eBay had an early version of what we call the buy it now button. I think your father and your mother sometimes kept pressing the buy it all button.
Oh my God, that's
I
funny.
think they would have loved sometimes a buy it all button. Like they would search for Superman memorabilia, and the whole page would go. I would think sometimes they'd want the buy it all button. But anyway, but they just had a knack for seeing the potential of a business plan. And that's good and bad. Sometimes things worked out, and sometimes it was a little bit of a stretch. And but that's the thing. That's your father, I think, was a kind of a Willy Loman type, always into business and had that faith that things would work out. And your mom had an incredible amount of knack to figure out if it was working out, if it wasn't, and making it work. Although she was really the people person behind HR on many levels, and I've talked to copious amounts of folks that she was kind of like the true glue and heart there. Although your father, of course, had a big heart as well. So just fascinating. Gloria and Herb, amazing, and I mean, I
I
think they would have been fine during this pandemic because they basically held court in their quarters, so they wouldn't have been hurting
right.
much in terms of needing to move around. But anyway, we love them and miss them.
I
I
want to
know
add
that they're
something.
looking over us.
I want to add something. As much as you said about my parents and work, they had a fascination for people. And so my parents, and growing up, it was a little bit, I always felt like kind of put off a little bit because, like, if you were in a restaurant, they would always, talk to the servers. They wanted to know other people's jobs and roles. And then I remember when I turned 16, and I was quite, cute at that age. And then the servers would put their attention to me, and then everything was fine. No, go ahead and talk to them, mom and dad. Find out everything you can. But like literally, a lot of the staff that were hired because my parents would meet and say, "Oh my God, like, would you like to come into the family business?" Shannon, for instance, worked for the Southington Library, and Shannon has stayed over, I don't even know how many years. Well, so probably over maybe 25, 30 years. I remember my parents having me hire Morgan, who is now has over 1 million so followers. She was on Bad Girls of Miami, really sexy woman. But when I hired Morgan, she was working at the grocery store. My mom and dad are like, "You got to go down there. You got to talk to her. She's 17. Let's get her in the business." And I went over and I met her. She's a beautiful girl. I loved her. And I still love following her. but my parents, and you've seen that too. Actually, I think of Dimitri and my parents. Remember the story with Dimitri, that they saw Dimitri with his sister and at the Gulf Stream, and they realized that Dimitri was making a choice whether to buy his sister a meal or a cake. And my parents said, well, we'll buy the meal. And they went over and they have this relationship. So I always want to remember my parents too, that they just have, so they would have loved the show because they love people. So that's kind of, maybe I get that from them. I want to learn more about my friends. And so, and when you go back, and I know it's hard to watch other people's interviews, but each one of the people that I've interviewed so far really are pretty amazing and are teaching something in that candid conversation. Like if I had more time, I'd be able to really pull it out and create some fancy art, but everyone is saying something that's amazing. Abby Sweeney, Abby, 25-year-old Abby is a coach. My daughter comes out, and it's candid, so I don't care. Alana comes out and she starts talking a little bit and she's upset about something. And somehow Abby picks up on it and gives Alana 3 sentences that has gone on to change Alana's friend's life. Like,
Look
it's
at
unbelievable.
that.
So that's why I'm doing the candid conversations. I want to show you off. I want to show everyone off, but I want to hear more. So you came here and I wasn't feeling good. I had a scratchy throat.
Yeah, at the beginning of this, just so you know, everybody, I left Miami on a road trip heading to a very good friend's wedding in St. Augustine. And I had told you about a month ahead that I would be doing so. And I was as chugging up the coast. We definitely weren't in nobody was social distancing, not fully, a little bit. That had just come into the lexicon, maybe 2 or 3, 4 days of serious social, but not everybody. It was the 17th or 15th of March. But as I was literally going up the coast, things were changing every day. And so you had a little scratchy throat, and I almost canceled out just almost, because I was going to stay over. And I said, well, look, let me camp out. I found a beautiful little campground in Daytona, but I still wanted to see you. And we did see, but we kept our distance. But that was weird. That was different. You were the first person that I knew that I really had that awkward, like, wow, this is weird. I have to not hug my friend Adrienne and not hug her daughter and your husband and all that, and just kind of stay apart. That was a real, and of course that very second day, as I was heading out, the wedding gets canceled. So everything is almost like that moment where what's that cliche moment in a movie where someone's running across the rope bridge and the back of the rope bridge starts to crumble, but they're still running. It felt like a normal world that we knew was literally disintegrating, just one step behind it. Huh?
I remember thinking you went to Savannah, and I'm like, okay, you're going to Savannah.
What had happened is right about the time the wedding gets canceled, I had talked about a week before with a wonderful lady named Bea Brickell, who is the great-great-granddaughter of Mary and William Brickell, the founders of Miami. And we had talked on the phone, and she had invited me to her home in D.C., but she also has a home in Beaufort, South Carolina. When the wedding fell through and I was already up in the St. Augustine area, I figured, well, it's only 3.5, 4, 5 more hours to her house. I called her up. He said, do you mind if I come over now? She goes, you know what? We should do this right now. You're right. Come on up. And so I headed up. I did another 2 days, one to Savannah and then one to Beaufort.
Oh, wow.
And so I met the great-great-granddaughter of one of the founders of Miami. Julia Tuttle was one, and Mary Brickell, in my opinion, and William Brickell was another. And so we had 2 days of incredible yapping and talking and showing old photos and showing me artifacts from her great-great-grandparents' day. And so, so it kind of got extended. But every time I was rolling anywhere, almost every day, something was changing from the day before to the next day. Another little piece of that rope bridge was falling behind us all. And now when we look back, well, there's no rope bridge. It's kind of like we're in a whole new, it's like we can't get back. You know, when a rope bridge crumbles, you can't go back.
Wow, that is a really great analogy. Oh my gosh.
New
Caesar,
territory.
you and then so a couple of things before we end this. So first of all, tell I think what's always fascinated about you is that you do Burning Man. And Burning, I never even heard of Burning Man because obviously I don't think I hang around with people that go to Burning Man too much. So you were the first, and then I was hearing more about it actually. Once you start Googling it, and then it starts popping up. But you will miss Burning. What's the story? First, I'll tell everyone about Burning Man
Okay,
is so that
so Burning Man is a beautiful, beautiful event every year that takes place in just the most beautiful concert hall you can imagine. They cap it off at just four people. You're supposed to be very quiet, and there's a piano, and there's this beautiful concerto that comes in. They play the piece. You got to be careful. You can't get up and gyrate or move or clap. It's a very controlled environment. In fact, they like to have all the walls black, no color at all, just very somber. And and then later they burn the piano.
really.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding. Burning Man. Burning Man is a tricky one to explain, but one of the things I like to tell people, if you want to understand what Burning Man is, I ask them two questions. Number one, ooh, I like that. Two questions. Number one, number one, would you like to go to another planet? Would you like to visit another planet? And most people say, yeah, I'd like to visit another planet. That's as close as you can come to describing Burning Man. And then the other thing I like to tell them, what's the second one? Ooh, I just had a brain freeze here. Wow. I was on a roll there and I forgot.
Getting older.
Anyway, but basically it's like visiting another planet. And but it's an art festival, music, art, people, and there's no spectators. Okay, everybody is a participant. Okay, we like to say that everybody is on, whether they're just wearing something funny or weird, or acting out some, or working on a piece of art, or bringing something to share with people. But basically, it was started about 31 years ago on Baker Beach, California, with the burning of a small wooden type of sculptural effigy man. And a guy named Larry Harvey had originally started it with a couple of friends, but mainly Larry Harvey. He hauled it off to this beach, lit it on fire, and about 13 people kind of sauntered over and say, that's pretty cool. And he decided to do it again the next year, and then next year about 30 or 35 people, got wind of it, or a little bit more people, and they all, my numbers could be off, but basically they said, that's cool, that's pretty cool. And the man kind of got more ornate, maybe a little taller, and then the following year, something like 300 people showed up, or even 3,000, I forget but anyway, a lot of people showed up, and that's when the cops said, whoa, what are you doing? Right before they lit it, and said, you can't be, you don't have a permit. You say all this melee of people, and then somebody in the crowd from the Seattle-based Cacophony Society said, why don't you take this out to the desert? Nobody gives a crap about doing stuff out there back then. And so they hauled this thing back out of the desert and burned it in the desert, and that was many moons ago, and now it's grown to about 75,000 people come around from around the world, not just the United States, around the world, to sit in the desert, again, very quietly, somberly, while someone walks up to a piano, and you can't talk, and then they burn the piano. No, I'm kidding. They have a big party. It's a crazy, beautiful scene. So that's Burning Man, and I've been a part of it. And there's also regional burns, like here in Miami, we have the Love Burn. In upstate New York, we have Portal Burn. So we have all these burns. There's Australia, there's Burning Seed. I got to go to Australia's Burning Seed, a regional event. So now there's events around the world. And Burning Man, unfortunately, just 2 days ago announced that they, due to coronavirus, are going to be canceling the event.
Wow.
Or not well, they say not really canceling, but taking it to a different level online. Although, I don't know how you can get away with not defining that as just cancel.
Isn't it at the end of August?
is end of August, but they decided that the combination of both the time that the artists and the camps need to really
Oh,
prepare for it and get a super green light, that would be a very risky moment, and they already, felt that it's already been kind of stalled in terms of not knowing. But they announced just today around 9:30 in the morning that they're going to move the festival, all 70,000 people, to Daytona, to your apartment complex. So just get ready. Yeah, let your neighbors know that we're coming over. We're going to party in your place.
wouldn't that be amazing? I would love that. And then when you think back, you can also think back on Australia when you were there before Australia, and then the fires were right after you left, right? It was not too far after you were gone.
Adrienne, like I said, and I just came up with this morning. I haven't been using this rope bridge falling apart behind us.
Yeah.
Everything, and maybe that's a little bit of a adage that you can take in your life. There are moments where people have told me, and I've read that the past is the past. You got to move forward. And I'm a historian. I love the past, but the past now is being hyper compact. I was in Australia, and months later, actually, while I was in Australia, there were a couple of fires here and there. And by the time I got back a couple of months later, the whole place is just, you couldn't go there. You couldn't do some of the things that I attempted to do research wise, or go to, I researched the Brickles over in Australia, or, go to Burning Man. Yes, it's crazy. It's really interesting. And it's going to be really interesting to see the effects of what all this has to our new normal. Our new normal is going to be real, everything from shaking hands in the regular foreseeable future, not maybe not the future, but the regular foreseeable future. Who's going to be shaking hands right and left
Well, I would like
and
to say
stuff like that?
something
That's just the tip of the
about,
iceberg. But go ahead.
I'd like to say, first of all, 80% of people don't know how to shake hands anyways. So I did enjoy showing people how to shake hands. It's crazy because so many people really don't understand it. So you get so many of this. Whoa. Second of all, I was thinking last night that, okay, so what are you going to do when you can't shake a hand, but you still have to outclass the competition? You still have to be on top of your game. And so the other day I wrote, and actually I'm going to write a blog about this. You got to stand up. Too many people are not standing up. If you're sitting down and someone's approaching you or someone walks over to introduce you, stand up. Say hello. I cannot believe how many people don't stand up. Now, if you can't stand up because of, you're just unable to, or you're squished behind a corner, that's okay. But if you have the opportunity to stand up, stand up. Now, I would also think that we have antimicrobial pens, it is kind of nice to give someone something with your information on it. Because I say, hi, I'm Adrienne Barker. Normally I would hand a business card. So maybe now doing antimicrobial business cards, or giving a gift of something that, and you could say, oh, by the way, this is antimicrobial. So because now you're exchanging something and you're having a conversation outside of what you are. Always ask how you spell someone's name. Too. Oh, hi, Cesar. It's nice to meet you. We can't shake hands, but how do you spell your name?
That's a good different segue. Or how do you pronounce your name, or etc. like that?
How do you spell your name? Like if you say I'm Cesar Becerra, I'm going to be like, I would ask, Cesar and then Becerra. And then that's a nice thing to do. So got to think of all the ways now, because people were not shaking hands very well anyways. I will say I saw an interview the other day with the president, and it was about 1999, and he was talking about that he didn't like shaking hands. And a lot of people don't necessarily like it. And at that day, actually, he really hasn't changed his personality from over the years, not to get political, but just as a human being, I give him credit. He's been the same way forever. And so during this interview, he's like saying, hey, it's kind of grimy. Not, he didn't use the word grimy, but we're shaking hands. He goes, I come out of a meeting and some guy just sneezes on his hand and then puts out his hand and I'm supposed to shake it. He's like, so I can understand that. We say often with shaking hands that, you want to do it and then run to the bathroom and wash your hands. But now is the time you gotta figure out a way. Most people, as I said, 80% really do not shake their hands nicely anyways. I don't think that I will be doing a lot of this and this and this and this. I think it's really now looking someone in the eye when you meet them, holding them, getting their attention. So like this.
Yeah.
Hi. Oh, it's nice to meet you, Cesar. How do you spell your name for me? No, don't do it that. I'm just kidding.
Well, you bring up a good point. It'd be fascinating. A couple of things I want to throw across your brain pan here, or ideas. It would be interesting to ask Shannon and your brothers and your sister and folks and Max at Barker Specialty, how much, I'm assuming through the roof, the little hand sanitizer giveaway things must be.
Okay, so I'll ask Halo. I work for Halo.
Oh, good. Right. Oh, there. We'll ask Halo.
Halo Products Guru. I work for Halo.
That's right. Halo. How that must be going to go through the roof in the future. Orders.
Right now, with the beautiful company Halo, which I absolutely love, amazing company, but and it's okay because sometimes people in a family business leave the family business due to just whatever may happen come up. It's not unusual, and it's a good thing. Halo's the third largest in the United States, so they're amazing. But so right now, Halo's doing something that nobody really would understand, is that they are so on top of it that daily we get reports. Right now, very little sanitizers are out there, so I'm taking orders.
Right.
They'll come in about 4 to 6 weeks. The masks are the issue. I got a couple of funny little masks here. They're like poor Alan. He's got to wear these little cute ones. But even with masks, we have to know how to sell them, who to sell them to, only work with vetted suppliers. And the key is, if you work with me, you know that it may not be the fastest. There's a lot of things that have to take place. This is all happening very rapidly, but we are providing a service, because right now you're not allowed to leave your house where you are without a mask. And so we don't sell them individually, but for companies that want to, and they're not, pretty soon there'll be masks with imprints all over them. And that's coming right now.
That's going to be huge. And just to imagine, you have gone to trade show. When the trade show market gets back up and going, you remember when you walk back past a trade show, not everybody, some of you are looking for the snacks and the food. And sometimes you see like little, antimicrobial, what do you call it?
Products.
Yeah, products. And you'd be like, in the past, you'd be like, I don't want that. I want the chocolate. But now people will be like, whoa, I'm going to grab. I'll probably see people glomming on that. But here's a great thing for Halo to think about. Again, it's just I got a pretty big popular show, and we did a kind of a study on what people want. And you're right. It's going to be hard to kind of like, shake hands. And I think it would be rude if you shook hands and then pirouetted and took off to the bathroom to go wash them. So our viewers came up with something genius. Again, it took about a good month of R&D, but we came up with a beautiful tiny, on the submarine, they have these very tiny sinks, or on cruise ships. And if you can wear that over and in front of you or up to the side, you can you can almost preempt the handshaking by putting on the water, shake the hand, and immediately, as you're talking to, you just shake their hands. So tell me about the studies of last summer. Did you ship that product out? And then, no, it won't be awkward. It won't be like, it won't be tearing off to, you won't be like, hold on, I'm going to go. No, you'll have the sink right then and there. There's a beautiful marriage between the sink and the pesticide companies. Notice that there's a lot of backpack holding reservoirs of water. We can put the gel or the water into that, and it would just be seamless.
Oh my God.
Seamless.
Oh my God! And listen to this one. If you have an everything bagel like this, you can have everything but the kitchen sink. But now you'd say everything and the kitchen sink. I actually was saying yesterday, why can't we have a sanitizer? Why can't we have a sanitizer that you put on your hands and it lasts like all day? Like all day. This one sanitizer, it's like an invisible thing that's like on, and boom, boom. You can do your whole body and a
Well,
sanitizer.
you can do that too. You can also do that too with one of those big, beautiful bubbles, those 6 foot bubbles that get plastic bubbles that get inflated, and you just walk around all day with the bubble, and
I love that
then
too.
you don't have to worry about anything, even sitting down on surfaces. You just stay in your bubble all day.
Okay, so now let's talk about one thing before we go. Okay, some of the good things about pandemic, being part of a pandemic. I found out yesterday that when I eat tuna fish and then go on to this stream, that nobody could smell my tuna breath. So that's a good thing. Give me one.
There you go. Tuna breath issues coming way down, way down.
It's important.
In fact, we had before this a sharp curve of tuna fish breath problems, and now we're flattening the curve. And actually, it doesn't always get talked about, but we're actually bringing the curve back down. So yeah,
So
you're right.
important.
We've almost eradicated that pandemic, and that's a good thing for sure.
Oh, but Cesar, serious on a serious note. Hi,
Yeah.
on a serious note, then I'll let you go. Brush your teeth before you use the mask, because
Ah.
if you use the mask and your own breath is horrible, you're going to be smelling it and you're just going to be mad at one person, yourself. So for everyone that wears a mask, brush your teeth. That's a trick for yourself. That's a gift to you.
Ah, there you
Not to
go.
anyone else. I know. I know.
There you go. That's good.
So,
See, these
is your
are
mom, is your mom telling you have to go now?
no. It's my father who called to tell me that my godmother was on the phone, but I'm
Oh,
live here. I'll call her immediately after.
oh, oh. What's for dinner today?
Well, we had a beautiful frittata for breakfast,
Oh
which I
man.
like to say is an overpriced omelet, basically. Uh, although I'm sure
Wait,
I
did you
get
buy it
callers
or
on the
make
show
it?
what a frittata is, but basically we had some eggs this morning. I don't know what we're having for dinner tonight yet,
Really?
but I'm in very good hands. I got my parents here, a swimming pool, my daily show. Of course, corporate got me the swimming pool. Again, as you know, we're
Wow.
jet. I also have been changing and morphing one aspect of my life that I've been wanting to get going, and that is a little art studio that I have set up in the backyard shack here. I've been wanting to, for many, many moons, to get back to doing art, and it's going to be called Art on History. It's going to be art pieces that have a little flair, color of street and modern art, a document that's a historic document of some sort, and sort of marrying the two. So I look forward to telling you guys a little bit more about that. Maybe we'll do another show in the future about
Oh
the
my
first
God.
pieces coming out of that.
Check
So
out my
yeah,
show with Debbie. Debbie Reaney. Check out my show with Debbie, Reany. I think I got it right. She is a recycled artist. She walked us through her home with all the art, and it was amazing.
nice. I also think I should go into production with this wonderful headphone and microphone. I'm producing these. They're a little bit on the expensive side, closing in on $70, $80, but I'll ship that to you anywhere in the world. I don't want you to think it's something I got out of the dollar store and put together with a fly swatter or anything like that. There have been all these rumors that I did it for $2. But anyway, so if you need, to clarify a better audio on your feeds today, let me know. We're selling that show special, a
Yes.
Halo show special for $65 while
Nice.
supplies are out. I can keep up
Nice.
with the demand. But yeah, doing a lot of good things and just kind of figuring out. But everything is loosey goosey for the future. No one, I don't know where I'm going to pivot to. I was in the tour industry, and that's of course kind of gone. Nobody's wanting and itching even after this to jump back in a bus or in a group tour. So I've been working with a company called let's see, Built Story, and they have an app that will allow you to go on your own personal tour without having to get into group
Oh,
tour type things.
cool.
And so it's kind of like your own personal, not fully epically conceptually new, but just a little easier twist
Oh,
to how to go from point A to point B. But I'm telling you, I'm missing my main my main peeps, Roberto, my boss, big boss man at Expedition South Florida, and others that I'm just missing that journey, of being in front of people. I had just gotten on Airbnb
Oh,
adventures.
oh yeah.
Um, but I'm still going to be doing some work with Pink Parrot Productions. We hope to be doing some online work, maybe some future workshops for now that everybody's on the Zoom thing. So, but it's definitely impacted. It's definitely impacted. It's going to be, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So, but that also gives you a good moment to recharge and relook at some things like my art. So let's see what we do.
Yeah, I would say, first of all, I have to tell you that I could feel my dad and I could feel him wanting to say something to you. He's a little disappointed in you. He thought that he taught you to always want to know what your next meal is. And
Ah,
because my dad, he'd wake up before dinner, before he go to bed, he'd say, "What's for breakfast?" At breakfast, he'd say, "What's for lunch?" At lunch, "What's for dinner?" If he's going somewhere, if he's away, he would want to know like the whole week. But my dad I can hear him. He's like, Cesar, what happened with you? You need to find out. When Adrienne asks you what you're having, you should know. You should know. So just FYI that one.
tomorrow or the next day when I get on the show, I'll be in a habit of asking ahead of time what's going to be for dinner.
Yes. Now I'm the cook here, so I feel bad for my family because I suck. World's worst cook. But you know what? It's funny. I've worked from home, and so I found Alana. I just have to a little bit with Alana. So I'm a little embarrassed by this too. So Alana, the other day at like 11:30 at night, because she's got really wacky hours now, but that's cool. She's 14. She's like, Mom, come into my bedroom. Come into my bedroom. So I walk in her bedroom. Okay, she arranged her room like how it should have been. So now, of course, the first thought is, oh my God, this looks amazing. The second thought is, I suck. Why did I even do her room the way I did it? Because it didn't make sense. And I noticed that with her, that now that she has time, she'll do certain things. And the way she puts things together, that could be a career for her. So I think that this kind of showed us where she is. I'm not used to not going out. I'm afraid that I could get used to not going out because that's kind of scary me. But I try not to watch TV. I'm taking the class from Harvard, which is good. I think it is important. I do my own marketing. And then I also, I actually think that I will, about Upwork, UPWORK. So I've gotten a couple of jobs from them. I'm on another one. So I've been
Wonderful.
in the industry, which is great. So opportunities are still here along with selling promotional products and then thinking ahead. So I'm doing my own thing, which is okay. So it's not as much for like you where you're really out. For me, I just get like, we all get stir crazy, but the neighborhood is beautiful. So I love taking walks. Our pool is closed. So last night I took a walk with Alan at 10:30 and everything looked so pretty to me. It was unbelievable. And I think he just annoyed him because I'm like, but it looks so beautiful. Like the clubhouse, it's all lit up in the pool. And I'm like, we'll get back there and I will enjoy it more. So I think now my heart goes out to everyone that's lost a family member and so many people on my news feed. And Chris Cuomo, who I fell in love with on CNN, I really like. I'm hoping I haven't even heard. Like I feel like he's my friend now. Where's Chris Cuomo? I haven't heard from him in 2 days. But like I really feel that that things will be okay, but it's hard to say that when you know that people have gone through and are suffering so hard. So I don't want to say that
Right,
because
right. Well,
our
well,
doctors and nurses, though, they're heroes. Whew,
we
the
haven't we
best.
haven't come up with a perfect phrase for the recalibration of our future lives if this thing has not only impacted your industry but maybe impacted your mind. I had a former boss who Dr. Hyler Bracey who uh, was the CEO of a company called the Atlantic Consulting Group. He would consult. He was a CEO to consulting CEOs. I mean, but one of the things he always said is that the biggest thing, the measurement that's been finitely measured in what it takes to not live your dream is about 7 to 8 or 9 inches, and that's the space between this ear and this ear. Your brain will talk you out of things if you have a dream. But, I think this process, as painful as it is, as scary in time, it would be fascinating to know years from now, um, how many people said, the coronavirus thing really impacted my life. Without it, I wouldn't have started this dream that I always put off on the back burner. And so we have a phrase in the business world, and it's kind of a negative phrase. And I think if you've heard of it, I think it's planned obsolescence, meaning an object is planned to kind of have a kind of shelf life of enough time for the company to build, another number 4, number 5 version of something, and then you have to switch, right? But I think your daughter was experiencing a type of moment where eventually the epic time in your life could impact what you thought was a pipe dream of her really rolling up the sleeves and doing something epic like organizing and cleaning your room, and for me it was that way. I mean, I just finished up many, many days of really attacking things that I put on the back burner in my room, all of it mating for, grabbing the different pieces of art that I've always wanted to marry, documents that I've been collecting for years,
Oh,
and art. Now I've got them in one area and I'm ready to kind of. So that is something I can assure you, with our kind of busy lives and our regular scheduled programming does not get impacted. My open slate of opportunities that I would not have been open to has to be now consciously open. For example, I'm considering being an art teacher for a summer camp in North Miami, at a camp program. I'm considering even going back to one of my former jobs at Nature's Classroom, because if
wow.
the trade show and convention market don't get up and running, or all those trade show and conventions that normally were in the spring aren't going to book till next spring, then the fall is going to be pretty empty for the tour season down here. So I've got to be, kind of open to that. Although I have the luxury, to be honest, to not feel the huge pinch, because I live life way below a certain level of, under the radar of a lot of pangs and pressures and responsibilities. I will admit to that. But now with the show, my new problem is, how do I, bury the money quick enough? Because they're just, the offers are just, I mean, I've hired 3 accountants. I don't even know where to, anyway, that's another story. Now,
You need to watch Ozark. You
I'm
need to watch
thinking that I would
Ozark.
take my Learjet over to Switzerland and hide the money that way.
No, Cesar, you need to watch Breaking Bad, and then you watch Ozark with Jason Bateman, and then you know how to make meth. Well, no, forget the Breaking Bad. You want to watch Ozark so you can learn how to launder money. And then
There
there's a
you
show
go.
called Girls. I
And
love the show Girls.
and now I have the time to dedicate to learning how to launder money.
That's right.
See
We're
that?
probably watch right now.
I
So
think I think we're going to see a slew of white collar crimes be more undetectable, because all these people have more time to look at Breaking Bad and do, learn the proper way to carefully launder money.
Okay, so now you're saying things that really could be true. Actually, there a lot of people are very upset with what's happening right now, so it's scary. You know what? It's you got to learn to. Have you noticed that days go by faster for some weird reason? Because I've noticed that days are going by really fast. Like, I just washed my sheets last Saturday, and it feels like last Saturday. Like, it just feels like a day.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're right. Everything's just evaporating. But one of the things I've noticed in white collar crimes is there's always a digital paper trail. So that's why all my sponsors know I'm paid in cash. So when the Learjet's done, I put the cash in the jet, fly
Ooh.
it over to Switzerland, and then deposit it in cash, so I only have a little deposit slip. There's no
Really?
wire. The wire transfer is where they get you.
It's true. That's true. That's true. This kind of conversation is making me scared because
Well,
people are listening.
we've encrypted this, and there's actually a new program that makes the entire conversation seems like we're not being that we're just being comedic, but you don't know the difference. So we fall under the radar, you know.
Good. Phew, phew, phew.
In a court of law,
So
we'll just say to the judge, the court. Well, obviously, we were joking.
obviously Cesar was joking. I've done nothing. My mouth has been. I am like innocent. Halo.
Yeah. So when they, if they try to pin me on any charges, say, listen, you think I'd be stupid enough to go on international TV, tell them what I was going to do, and then do it? Come on.
Come on. Come on.
It's always good to go be upfront about things, you know.
Well, Cesar.
Well, Adrienne, this has been a beautiful time. I definitely want to check in with you once a week and see what's going on. Oh, look at that. That's Mickey and Pluto.
Mickey and Pluto that were in a box somewhere that turns out to be called the Mad Dog 1931. Very expensive, limited, number 437 out of 1,000.
Whoa!
Just thrown in a box. Someone it was thrown in a box, so no care.
And look
but for my class.
Look at the foreshadowing there. Mickey and Walt himself. Walt has always been known to be way ahead of his time. You can see that obviously Mickey is washing the coronavirus off Pluto's body there very, very diligently.
I'm going to use this for my museum history paper that I have to write about. So anyway, I'm going to go back to school. Right. You're going to go back to call your auntie or grandma or whoever it was.
Yeah, well, I got to add some autographs to digitally sign around the world.
I love you, by the way.
I love you, honey. All right, very good. I love it. And remember, my show is every morning around 10 a.m. called And We're Back with Cesar Becerra. Now, your show, Adrienne, because I'm going to be posting on my site, tell the viewers how they can link up to your show other than going to Adrienne Barker and sending you a friend and a following request.
Whoa. So I am learning about people, but what we need you to do is you or your friends hashtag show off your friends. And just like you're doing now, you're showing me off, show off Heather. Maybe Heather, we'd like Heather to come on. Heather Moxie, calling Heather.
Absolutely. Moxie, is this mic on? Heather? Paging Heather.
So you know what? That's really what it's about is I never mind talking to anyone, but getting to showing off my friends. I am working on, how you have I belong to all these networking groups and everyone's like, let's do a one-on-one. So the brave ones are coming on and doing a live one-on-one with me. Brave. But most people I know, and I'll send it to you. I'm going to download it. It's an hour, 63 minutes and 27 seconds. So it's going to take a little while. I'll send it to you on YouTube, and I love you and be safe.
You got it. All right. We're out. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. You're so awesome. And then I just stop it. Right?